which then we would have to design into, and we'd be happy to do that, but we need to know where that object is to know what we're tying into. And then we identified, from the early sketch that it didn't appear the right of way doesn't go all the way to our property, so there's a Freudenberg sort of glitch. The alternative is that sort of reverse P cul-de-sac, which would get you 2/3 of the way, less impact to the park, and still could potentially tie us in. So at some point, the town and us, we need to determine that Freudenberg is not going to happen, and this is the way, the path, and we could be kind of working towards that solution, or we go back to the original idea, which is here's the driveway coming through the corridor. How do we coexist to benefit both uses?
Well, I think we're going to rely to a great extent on the planning board for resolving some of these things and working these trade-offs, or whatever it is going on. I mean, is there a reason for being here instead of there?
We've been told by the planning board and Fred that this is absolutely a select board issue, and that we're impacting town improvements, the ice skating rink, it's town land. So the planning board's saying we need to be negotiating with you.
Okay, for myself, I'd like to hear from the planning board that they've discussed this. They think it's a plan that's viable. They've got some feedback from the town, and wherever they are in the process, they're going to advise us. I don't think we're the experts in this. I'm certainly not the expert. I know of this discussion, what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I've heard this from Fred, and he's taken, going through this discussion. We are in process, knowing that we want to do something, I think, regardless of, your particular project or whatever, do with that industrial way. But, I've been waiting for the select board, particularly, the chairman and some of the people to come here and say, hey, here's where we are. I haven't heard from them. I don't know if you guys have.
Planning board.
The planning board, yeah.
We have a design that meets all your site plan regulations. It is, from our perspective, approvable in its current form, with some massaging to address recent department head comments and stuff like that, but it's all stuff that we can resolve.
Permitting is in place. Last I heard that, that we didn't have permits.
We don't have permitting in place, but we're confident that we can get permits. And we, frankly, would have submitted with DOT already, but we didn't because we were led to believe that this other access was going to be the town's preferred, specifically the select board's preferred route.
That's what we'd like to see.
Yep.
So what's your timeline before you start building?
Well, I want to start with, we're trying to get planning board approval, right? And so because planning board approval leverages that we've got a project that works, that we can move forward with permitting, and then after you get approval, then you're chasing all the money and planning for construction. The reality is, because of monies that are available, the actual construction is out a couple of years, and we've been open to the board about that. But we're in the process for planning board now, and we've been there. We'll be going on a year come June or something. And the goal is to get approval and then file our state permits and then
And then I go through my funding application process through the state, so, and that can take up to a year,
So what we thought we were working towards is coming kind of basically both sides, your side, our side, coming to this memorandum of understanding that the town's gonna do X, Y, Z, LRC's gonna do X, Y, Z, this is the timeline. If funding doesn't happen at town meeting, then plan B is this, and so we have like a map of this is what we're trying to accomplish, and if we hit a speed bump because we don't get a vote or something like that, that the backup plan's been sort of built in, so that if we have that memorandum of understanding in place, then we can go to the planning board and say, we've taught the town, we understand these issues, we've agreed on our side to do this, the town's agreed to that, and here's the path, and almost have part of the planning board approval be subject to the memorandum of understanding, which is basically the negotiation that's happening between the town and the developer.
And yeah, if I would comment on this, again, I'll speak for myself and let you guys fill in, but I don't see the select board getting in the middle of the planning board's job. You know, we're looking for them to coordinate your entire project, okay? And yeah, I mean, we can work internally and they may have to come to us and say, hey, guys, you know, we'd like to get this industrial way thing done, you know, we need your help. And that's really where we are, trying to facilitate. But I don't, you know, they're holding the ball on this. And at some point, they have to come to us and say, you know what, all the pieces now have come together. And I don't see us making decisions or doing things without their involvement or actually without their direction.
Yeah, they're absolutely, we'll be doing something without their involvement. We were led to believe that we needed to have this conversation with you and that we need to negotiate with you and then report back to them what you guys what we've all agreed on, kind of.
You need us to do this. You know, talking about the industrial way project. I mean, that's for sure. The planning board needs us to do it. But you know, again,
we have an easement, so as designed, we could.
I know that story.
Yeah, I mean,
I know that story.
it's not really-
That takes us all to a whole different place when we start talking about the project. Okay, and I like the words of, you know, well, you know, we're trying to work together and make this, you know, palatable to a community that you know very well doesn't consider this very palatable in general. So I think though that you know, this has got to be worked out with the planning board. I know they've been doing a lot of homework, including economic analysis of the impacts and whatnot, which I'm surprised that they had to do that independently. I was hoping you guys actually were going to.
we did provide the fiscal impact report.
You did to the planning board, and they've taken it. Well, that's good. So, yeah, that's, you know, what we're looking for. And these, I'll call them the thorny issues, need to have a resolution that fits into an entire plan that the planning board says, hey, you know what, you know, we've worked with these guys and this is, you know, this is the best plan. And I guess that's really what we're sitting on, willing to help, you know, and facilitate what we need to do. And we are. But I guess my sense is I don't think we want to be in a position of circumventing the planning board.
I don't think you are. They have to approve the site plan, and we know that. We were specifically told that this issue needs to be taken up with the board, like multiple times, and reinforced multiple times, and reinforced with multiple written documentation from the town. And we've been trying to get here, and it is until now that this is about to happen. We appreciate that you are.
Yeah, and we appreciate this presentation and explanation, and certainly the offer to, you know, work together and achieve something that's mutually palatable.
Yeah.
So at this time, we are waiting on legal.
Okay.
Until they have weighed in, I don't believe we want to weigh in
Which is
on
completely fair.
anything.
Yeah, that's fair.
Totally, yeah.
So,
Can we agree to reconvene it at some future time that is ample time for you to have more comfort in the next steps?
I have a
yeah,
I have a question. Should,
sure.
I mean, they're here, but I understand what Charlie's saying, that, you know, we rely on the planning board. So should we talk to the planning board when this is set up for you to come to, representative of the planning board should be there at this meeting also?
Certainly be helpful.
Because
Yeah.
we rely on them, so it's really not fair to you if they're not here.
Well,
You know,
Andy's here.
well,
Yeah, I'm
you're-
here.
That's, yeah, that's true.
What I think we should do is when they come back, have the planning board with us.
That's fine.
Okay, so that way, yeah.
That way we're all together in the same room,
A joint meeting.
a joint meeting. Yeah. Maybe 2 months, I hope. Let me get a hold of Laura or let my town manager get a hold of Laura and we'll find out where we are with Freudenberg.
Okay.
Does that makes a difference, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we need to know what's gonna happen there before we can make an intelligent decision.
Yep.
I
makes
don't
sense.
wanna throw a dart at the board and
I mean, I
miss.
guess, let's just say Ford comes around and says, yeah, we'll give you that piece of land for $100,000 or whatever. My guess is that
We'd do
the
it.
town doesn't have that in their back pocket, or am I wrong in saying that? So
It's
does
not a
that
question,
likely be,
it's not a question, we just need the town's authority to
so
spend the
you'd
money.
be headed to a warrant article?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but we gotta get there first.
Understood, understood.
And time moves fast, but before you know it, we'll be at the warrant article time anyway, so, I mean, it's just, it does.
Yeah,
I know,
well,
it seems like a long time, but
Well,
this stuff goes
it is a long
fast.
time. I mean, we feel like we have a design that should be approved and can be permitted, and that's been before the town for quite some time, like 6 months, and so it's just been a little bit frustrating to not be able to move the conversation along. We appreciate that it's moving along.
Remember, this is the biggest development project that this town has had, and it has a major impact. We're all digesting that
Yep.
from different points of view. So, we ask you to be sensitive to that fact, because you're asking us to change our lifestyle here, if you will, and perhaps the culture of the town, and that's just not something that we can flip a light switch and say, okay, hey, that's great.
Yeah.
So the advice is, I understand you've made good attempts to work this project in a positive way, and I think that the planning board is really the one that's been trying to digest that. And they've been advising us and telling us
Yeah.
where it stands, and we've had, the residents coming and advising us and telling us where they stand. So, this is a constructive discussion. I think that's probably the best thing that can happen right now.
Yep.
And let's, continue this positive discussion and try to make both sides come together if it's possible.
Right. You guys have anything to add?
I think so. How about you? No.
Okay. So should we pencil in 2 months from now, or what do you think? What's-
I would pencil it in, and we'll see where we're at.
Yeah.
Give us a call. By then, our new town manager will be in position, we hope, and we can move forward.
That's actually a separate question I had, and I skipped over it. We were advised, but in the past, that we all department head correspondence need to funnel through Fred, and that was a little bumpy to kind of get there. It didn't happen as fast as we were told it was going to happen. And we understand there's a new interim town manager.
Yes.
There is.
And my question is, if we've got a bunch of recent feedback from department heads, which we're trying to digest, what the sort of understanding was that after this review process internally that happened, which was identified to be 30 days, we'd get comments, and then our goal was that if it made sense with some department heads to be able to have some face-to-face conversation with those department heads, and we were told that
Please funnel it through the town manager, because we don't want people going off at cross purposes. I mean, we want a central point to plan and coordinate. It's in both parties' benefit.
Yep.
We don't, you go to the town manager, this opens it up to misunderstanding, cross-communication, and that's not gonna facilitate anything,
So, I guess my question is does that department head communication need to funnel? It's very unusual for a municipality to, usually a consultant or a developer can go knock on the public works director's door, or go knock on any of these doors and interact with them on a one-on-one basis in any other community I've ever worked in.
Please don't.
But in this town, you'd like
We'd
us
ask you
to...
don't do that. We really would.
Okay,
Yeah.
which I'll respect. I just
Yes.
want to make sure I understand what the...
Yeah, the town manager's job, whether it's the interim town manager or we believe a new one coming on board shortly, they are the central focus for what you're proposing. I mean, the planning board oversees it and plans it, but the town manager is the central focus and will coordinate the involvement of whoever needs to get involved and to keep us apprised of where it is.
Okay. No problem. I just wanted to make sure, 'cause it feels like there's been other confusions with Fred, and so we wanted to just ask the question so that we're,
Well, there'll be a new working relationship for you that, you might want to become familiar with.
okay. That's all I got, unless you guys have anything else I missed. Okay. Anything else for us?
I think we're all set for right now.
We appreciate your time.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a good night. Okay, any other old business?
Old business, no, I guess I don't know, I do want to discuss tomorrow's vote a little bit, and address the residents. Is that old business or selectmen's
That'll
item?
be a selectmen's item.
Okay, I'll wait for that.
Okay, I have one item under selectmen's items. We have an application for property tax credit, veterans property tax credit. Gentleman was in the Army. He's requested the veterans tax credit is his application.
PD 214.
Does he meet the requirements?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you need a move, or do you want to
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
make a motion?
Yeah.
Also, let me know when you'd like me to start it, whether it's with this tax bill or the one in future talks. Doesn't matter to me.
How have we done this in the past?
There've been a couple of others that we've done because they were trying actively to get a veteran's tax credit, but they were blocked, and we made exceptions for them to start getting their tax exemption immediately.
But if we don't make an exception, they get it when?
He would technically start getting it next April.
It's be a year.
As a veteran, I think he earned it today. I mean, immediately. I don't think he should have to wait a year.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'll make a motion that we approve Mr. Beadle's application for a veteran's tax exemption, effective immediately.
I will second that motion.
So I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I gotta sign this somewhere.
You do. Yep, right there on the bottom. One says sign and one says print.
Yeah, I know. Let me sign where it says print.
Fantastic. I love that.
Don't laugh, that's what I usually do.
Thank you.
Just one, right?
Just the one.
Yeah.
can hold a pen now. It's very nice.
Can you actually write?
Yeah,
Is it your signature or somebody else's now?
mine.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to remind everybody that there is a very important vote tomorrow. It could change the way Ashland operates. We either operate with the electric department, or if the vote goes sour, we don't operate with an electric department. It's going to change a lot of things if we don't do it, if we don't get approval from the voters. I just want to remind everybody to vote tomorrow. Charlie?
I'd like to extend those comments, Mr. Chairman, and I have contacted a lot of residents who have tried to digest this issue, and there seems to be a discussion about some alternatives. You know, do we turn it over to the co-op? Do we develop our own repair schedule without a bond, or do we pursue this bond? And I've spent a few hours, more than a few hours, working the numbers that are involved and trying to figure out exactly where we are. It turns out that, you know, the rate increase that we had earlier in the year, mostly driven by the increase in electric rates that we had to create a contract for. But to that same rate increase that occurred in January, the town did add additional funds for the future maintenance and repair of the substation. And because of that, the rate increase that's already gone through pretty much covers where the bond that we would have to vote for tomorrow and if approved, obtain. There's maybe a 2 or 2.5%, kind of variance that, on the downside if things don't work out as well as we'd like. But that's minimal, and there is a very good chance that going forward will not require any additional rate increase. Okay? And if we get the bond, the bond spreads the payments out over 20 years, and we can absorb it a little at a time. The alternatives are potentially very significant rate increases. It's not, either we keep going down the road we've already started going down and we stabilize things plus or minus a couple of percent in the rate, or both of the other alternatives require significant rate increases and soon. So it's simply a vote. Do you want, the rates, we had that increase and none of us are happy, but that's kind of life and we're dealing with it. Do we want to stabilize at that level, hoping in the future actual electric costs go down, which means that we could see declining rates in future years? Or do we want to go down a path that requires significantly greater rate increase? And either way, that substation has to be rebuilt. It's either we rebuild it at a very good deal that our people will work together with I.C. Reed and do it for the amount of the bond, approximately $2 million. The alternate quotes are over $5 million because they don't have the advantage of having the town's labor assist. So we're already getting a significant payback because we have the capability in our backyard of doing some of this work for ourselves. And the co-op will not take over the electric supply to the town until that substation is rebuilt. And if they were to rebuild it, it would be at a significantly greater cost than we can rebuild it for. So to echo the chairman's words, the electric department is a significant asset to this town. And while nobody likes the fact that, you know, that we had a problem there and it now needs some major maintenance, that still offers us the best alternative going forward. And nothing else is in second place. So I would just ask the community to come out and vote positively to allow us to float that bond, obtain the money to repair the substation, make it a safe place for our people to work, make it a reliable resource for the town so that we can go back to where we were, which is very few power outages. And when it does go out, our people are on it. And so it's a limited outage. Those are town assets that we need to appreciate, we need to preserve. So, I mean, I don't want to give a big speech, but this is really significant, and a negative vote tomorrow means we all pay more. That's the bottom line. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Anybody else? We need to replace a board member. How do we want to do that? Do we want to wait for another night?
I think I'm digesting just the fact that we have the resignation in hand, and I think we need to think about that and how we want to go forward.
All right. Ann, you feel the same way?
Well, we know what we have to do, right? We have to
Yeah.
have people send
But
resumes
how do
in.
we do, well, we don't have to do it that way. There's several ways we can do it. But we need to think about those ways.
Isn't that the fairest way?
Yeah.
Have people submit, people who have interest
Yeah.
so at some point we officially request people to do that?
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we'll make the decision at next meeting?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Any other selectmen's items? We have one non-public tonight. RSA 91-A:3, Section 2, parentheses C. I'll make a motion that we enter non-public.
Second.
Have a good night, all.